Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. My pleasure to have with us Dr. Jan Yager. She authored Work Less and Do More. Jan, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. Listen, I don't have enough time. That seems to be the common complaint that resounds in companies big and small. How can we fix that?
Well, the first step is to really look at streamlining the way things are done. I recently went to a website for a hotel and could not find the address anywhere. So people need to tell their coworkers, their employers, even websites they're visiting, is this really effective and productive?
Right. So is it a matter of having places, for instance, that's a good example, Jan, where you've got websites or companies that put together websites like that, and it would seem to me that if you had a simple contact area, why put up a website if it can't be easily found or contacted?
Well, the interesting thing is that they had a contact area, but it was to send them an email.
Right.
And I just wanted a physical street address, which one would hope one could have for a hotel.
Right.
So, but what Work Less, Do More does, and I was looking over my own book right before you called, and I love the interactive format because even as I take my own self-quizzes, there's things like an action plan, and each letter in the action plan stands for something that really helps us to take control of how we manage our time so we don't find the day has literally flown and you didn't get to do what you really needed to do.
Right. Well, that's important because we find many facets in our life, don't we, to where we have distractions. And a distraction can come in many different forms. But what is the best way to eliminate distractions?
Well, you can only change yourself, so take control of your own behavior. I've actually been in workshops where the workshop leader took a cell phone call.
Huh? What?
So, you can tell everyone at the beginning of the meeting, let's all shut off our cell phones.
Sure.
But you have to be a role model yourself. Another important part of this is it's a cultural phenomenon. I do a lot of international research and traveling, and when I was in Australia in June, I was thrilled when people said to me, "No worries."
Right.
Now, in this country, unfortunately, we are becoming so stressed that it has become a culture of being busy and frenzied.
Right.
So we need to make having an hour lunch a positive thing again, not an unproductive thing, but a pacing that actually helps you to be more productive for the afternoon.
Right. Now, how does one do that? I mean, you go to lunch, and people kind of want to not talk about work. They just, what happened over the weekend, stuff like that. So how do you get into that mode?
Well, the interesting thing is that, sadly, a lot of people aren't even having lunch.
Yeah.
They're either skipping lunch or they're grabbing something and eating over their desk.
Right.
They're not getting paid anymore for avoiding that lunch. So consider taking an exercise class during that hour, meditation, walking, that coworker who keeps annoying you during the day because he or she wants to talk when it's time to work.
Yeah.
Say to him or her, "Hey, let's grab a bite. Let's talk."
Right.
So, and there are companies that are getting together for an hour or so after work because that kind of interacting actually aids productivity.
Right. Now, you mentioned in your book, and you call them that they're time wasters. I call them time bandits. And this could be along the line of distractors too. People that come in, you're busy doing what you're supposed to be doing, and all they want to do is they want to talk about what they saw on the internet when they first came in their first hour, what happened over the weekend. They're not really very productive. They're not there working like they're supposed to be working. So how do you deal with these time bandits?
Well, I do have lots of tips in Work Less, Do More, but here's a couple.
Yeah.
If you have a second chair in your office, you may want to consider removing it or getting a fold-up chair and only taking it out when you have someone you want to have sit down.
Right.
If you need to keep the chair there, pile up some materials on the chair, because people are much less likely to stay if they don't have someplace comfortable to sit.
Right.
And very few people are going to remove your stuff, and they're not going to sit on top of a bunch of books.
Right.
You can also very politely say, you know, after someone's talked for a period of time where they've taken a breath, you can say, you know, I'd love to talk more. I'm on a deadline. What's a good time we can discuss this further? And guess what, Kurt? 9 times out of 10, someone is going to say, oh, no, that's okay, I just had to go anyway, because they're embarrassed that suddenly it's obvious that they really are not really appreciated for wasting your time.
That's right. All right, so outside of the professional area, how do we handle wasted time in our personal life, Jan?
Well, what I find is that most people have an extreme as how they approach the weekend. Either the weekend is so overbooked that it's an extension of the work week, or they do absolutely nothing and they wake up and it's Monday morning and they go, was this weekend really fun?
Right. All right.
So you want to have something in between. If you're the extreme, and I do have in Work Less Do More a planning calendar, a planner for your weekend. If you're the kind of person who's really been doing very little on weekends, if you want to get together with friends, start making at least one commitment a weekend. You don't want to go to the other extreme of overbooking, but actually put it in your planner just as if it's a meeting with your boss.
Right.
I recommend people use pencil in their planners, but you might even want to use pen when it comes to those friend or family commitments, because those too often get erased.
Right. How important is it to prioritize our lives? Some say, hey, you know what, I fly by the seat of my pants. Others say, listen, I need structure. All right?
Well, I have a self-assessment. If the way you're doing it is working, if you're not stressed out, if you're making the amount of money you'd like, if you're advancing in your career the way you'd like to, if you're getting straight A's or at least good grades, then your way is working. But if in any of those areas you're deficient, then you really do need to grab your time by prioritizing. You've got to prioritize not just the day, but even each hour.
Okay. Now, Work Less, Do More. I read in there where you have 5 P's. All right. And name us a couple P's, if you will. And we'll say the rest. They can buy the book to get the rest of them, Jan.
I love that. Thank you. You're prioritizing that. We want to motivate people that there's a lot in this book to help them.
That's correct.
One of my favorite P's is perfectionism. Because in most of us, it is counterproductive. But I do want my brain surgeon, if I needed one, to be a perfectionist.
That's right. That's right. That's good.
Procrastination. In Work Less, Do More, I discuss how if procrastination is slowing you down, rather than throwing up your hands, how can you look at it as a friend? How can you understand it? How can you overcome it? Another one of the 5 P's, and we will leave out 2 so people will find them in the book. Petulance or attitude. If you have this attitude, I'm overwhelmed, I can't handle things, it's not only going to impact on how you deal with your day, but it's going to be a rippling effect with everyone around you, everything from romantic partners to children to coworkers and even your boss.
Yeah, nice. All right, now, for the rest of the couple P's that are left, get a copy of Work Less, Do More. Now, where can we get a copy of Work Less, Do More?
Wherever good books are sold locally. You can also go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Powell's.com, your favorite bookstore. You can go to my website, drjanyager.com, Dr. Dr. Jan Yager, Yager, and you'll find the book jacket and a click, and there it is.
All right, head on over there today. Plus, get a copy. Work Less, Do More. Barnes & Noble, just like Dr. Jan Yager says. Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, very popular, and wherever fine books are sold, your local books corner, head on over there today, get a copy. Doctor, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. And if people want to write to me, jyager@AOL.com, I'd love to hear about how the book helps them in their own time challenges and triumphs.
Fantastic. There's the email address, Dr. Jan Yager. Once again, folks, work less, do more, 14-day productivity makeover. And I tell you what, there's some fantastic information in here. In fact, you can identify and avoid time wasters, like I said. All right, I call them time bandits, and she's more than welcome to use that. Run shorter, more effective meetings, too. All that and a lot more. Get a copy today. Up next, we're going to get back to my stock list. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.